The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host. And it is a beautiful February 17th as we get into the middle of the month, the shortest month, but maybe the most important month, as it is the month that my mother bored me to death. And it is a kind of an interesting day out here in the fact that we've had some at least troubling news with the Greek news out here. But normally the things you would look to see on a troubling day like this have not occurred. So it is rather interesting to see, what do we have out here? Gold off $18. No fear trade. The fear trade, it looks like it's gone, and silver off 85 cents. And just, what else can you say? Just a lot of things not making a lot of sense. Of course, the S&P cash was up and got to 2,100. Let me see where it's at right now. Come on, there it is, 2099.79. So we're right at that 2,100 mark on the S&P cash. And of course, there'd be a lot of cheerleaders on CNBC or Bloomberg if they were able to make it into the station today. But a lot of the B-teamers coming in for CNBC, they were trapped out on the West Coast, can't even get plane flights back in. So it's not going to surprise me that we've got light volume today, just a little over 2 billion shares. But up 2 points on the S&P cash, not that big a deal. And to me, it's much more interesting to see how gold and crude and some of these other things are actually playing around out here. And, I don't know what else you can say. 53.16 on the current contract, up 38 cents. On crude, I think it was down to 52 and something earlier this morning. But normally a lot of things before, like an FOMC meeting or in this case, the future of the Eurozone, very interesting to see that there's almost no real thought that anything bad can happen. And I actually wrote in my newsletters starting on Friday and in today in the Tech Insider that when stocks don't act correctly, you should really start worrying. And stocks that should have been clubbed and pretty much eviscerated last week, some of them did not. In fact, people started buying them hand over fist. The only thing I can think of, people really believe that the companies are saying, hey, we're guiding down for 6-9 months, that they're lying. That they're basically saying, trying to sandbag this market. And my guess is that they're not. And that tells me one thing, and that is there's far too much money chasing far too many equities. And we're probably seeing that kind of bubble that we saw in 1999 develop in the dot-coms. And that is little fear, a lot of people that don't have any real concept of over time that they're paring weight. It's the bigger fool theory, and that is that it doesn't matter what we're going to pay for these stocks and what they could be worth tomorrow. I'm going to find a bigger fool to buy them today. That does not mean that this market's going to roll over in a day or two. In fact, generally when you get that kind of risk-taking behavior, it feeds upon itself and can get much larger. So I'm here at basically, I think, the tipping point, and we're going to be watching it this week, where we can start seeing massive amounts of money being gambled instead of at least whether it was intelligently or unintelligently speculated on. I think we're going through that tipping point to just straight out gambling, and that is the hope that you can sell something that you know is not worth what you bought it for a higher price, or as it's known, the bigger fool theory. And just because so many of these companies won't be worth what they're being paid today for, in 5 years, they won't grow into their evaluations today, and that people are still back buying those hand over fist, tells me a couple things. That is, there's a lot of loose money around, and as far as I can tell, a lot of loose money in the rest of the world. It's all coming here, and that's normally a good sign that everything's going down. It's just not going to go down, and everybody's going to run to the back of the ship. They're going to think, well, things pretty good out here. We're at the back of the ship. We're not in the water yet, and that can take a while before the ship breaks in half and everybody gets tossed in the water with the rest of the people that were already there. But could this last 3 or 6 months? It certainly could. Could it last a year? I'm thinking that would be pretty difficult. But I actually bumped into something. I had some massive headaches on Friday, and they continued pretty much all through yesterday, through the morning. And I didn't find out what was wrong with me until today when the blood test came back. But not a big deal, but just having problems. I'm going to have to take a lot more vitamins, I think. But felt like what was a hangover. But continued watching TV, reading a lot of stuff over the weekend as I could focus for 5 minutes at a time. And took me a great deal of time to go through some stuff. But it started on Friday morning before I even was really feeling truly bad. And that was a little article that was kind of hidden. And it talked about the massive amounts of money being spent by the U.S. government. And I thought, well, we spend massive amounts already. But I think I could have bet anybody that I talked to before we started talking about this on Friday in the newsletters that no one would have known that we spent, in the previous 4 weeks, the U.S. government spent 9% more than it did in the same time frame in just the year before. And the budget's not that much bigger. It's 2.5%, 3% larger, which is something they do every year. But basically that extra 6%, that tells me that they were very afraid and wanted to get ahead of a potential market meltdown and or economic meltdown, and started pushing a lot of cash out very early in this market. And eventually that will catch up to us when they don't have that cash to spend later in the year. But it certainly looks to me like the government has done just about everything they can to throw fuel on the fire to get it burning. And the logs may be a little bit damp. They haven't aged long enough and dried out. And they keep throwing a little gasoline on it, hopefully that the economy will catch a spark and not need it as badly anymore. Anyway, I think there's a few things going on. Part of that is huge spending in the government, and I think we could see some fairly decent bubbles, at least some short covering in the coming weeks.
Everything is awesome.
Yes, everything is awesome, but I clicked. This is what I wanted to click on.
That it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 2000, total trading volume on the NASDAQ tops 2 billion shares for the first time, as 2,800,000,000 shares exchange hands on the NASDAQ Composite Index. Closes above 4,500 for the first time, finishing the day at 4548.92. And of course, it was all vapor, and most of it, about 3/4 of it, went to money heaven in a matter of months. Yep, the old greater foo theory. But it certainly existed back in 2000, and I think there's a lot of signs into it. And the signs that I see that we are kind of going after 2000 is a lot of money chasing a very few stocks, and earnings power going down as stock prices go up. And as soon as a stock ticks down, no matter what their forecast for the future is, they basically have to buy it anyway. And that's a good example of too much too much money chasing too few shares, even with the amount of and huge amount of supply that we've had going on. Very few stocks are being chased in this, but the ones that are being chased, like Apple, like other ones like Google, back off its lows, is a big issue in that they drive the indexes, and most people don't look any deeper than that out there. But that's it. I know a lot of people are buried in the snow up north, and after they saw this article on Friday, they thought maybe I hope Dave is doing okay, because something like this in the paper, a lot of people know just how much it could affect me, and I know how this would affect so many other people. And of course, that was the Wienermobile crashing in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania on Friday. No one was hurt, but the truck was pretty banged up, including the smashed windshield and serious damage to the bun fender. And of course, no one's ever sung the Oscar Mayer Wiener song without thinking about the Wienermobile. But in all this and all the snow and all the problems, don't mean a hill of beans next to the Wienermobile being crashed. It was a tough day. I almost didn't make it through it. In real news, Transocean Rig has announced that its CEO is getting out of the way, and the board of directors have put in somebody else as a stopgap, effective yesterday. Additionally, Newman has been elected to resign as director of Transocean. So basically, a industry in transition, i.e., it's so much cheaper to drill and frack on land than it is on the ocean, that now the technology is out there. These guys don't have a lot of options. RIG is the symbol for Transocean. And of course, I think changing jockeys halfway through the race, probably not going to do anything better to change their outlook. But that's one thing you can do, is fire your CEO and at least act like you're doing something and get another year or two out of your highly paid job as a board executive. But probably not going to make a lot of difference. Not too much difference out here for Starwood. Their CEO is out the door. Fritz van Paschen has resigned by mutual agreement with the board. Adam Iron, who's served on the board since 2006, will serve as the interim CEO until they find somebody else that is willing to get on the SSS Starwood Titanic. But this guy's been here, I think, since 2005 or 6. He was around for a long time, but I don't know. He kind of had that whole Sprockets thing from Saturday Night Live kind of Germany vibe. A little bit strange looking. But I do digress. We'll be back in a minute, and all the bad weather, not surprising, the volume's low in the markets. But we'll talk about that when we come back.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Check out the new look of Tiger TV. Now you can see all hosts, charts, and computer screens live in high definition. Whether it's Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, David White, Larry Pesavento, Andy Hecht, Thinkorswim, or Carol Martin, you can catch all of our technicians hosting their programs live and archived on Tiger TV. Now, crystal clear in high definition, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you haven't seen the new look of Tiger TV, then visit TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You've always taken the long view when it comes to investing, but what if there's an opportunity right under your nose? What if you could be more responsive to market trends to seek to boost your portfolio performance right now while seeking to reduce your overall risk? At Direction Funds, we connect investors with alternative strategies that seek to maximize their returns. Smart investors deserve smart alternatives. Find yours at directionfunds.com. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risk charges, and expenses of Direction Funds carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Funds. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact the Direction Funds at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. Investing in index funds may be more volatile than investing in broadly diversified funds. Distributed by Rafferty Capital Markets, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And earlier this morning, Western Digital and Seagate and some of these other companies, Toshiba and Samsung, we're feeling a little heat in the stock market as news started to break last night. That news was that the Russian software security company Kaspersky, I think that's how it's pronounced. I don't know. I never used them. I didn't trust it. But that company basically came out and said that they found all kinds of spyware in the actual hard drives. And the idea was that the NSA has introduced this into a variety of computers, especially in Russia. And if they reset the machine, they could get direct access and download the entire hard drive. But feeling a little bit of heat today, Western Digital and Seagate, to a lesser extent, Toshiba and Samsung, as Toshiba and Samsung declined to comment. Of course, Western Digital said, we know nothing. We know nothing. We know nothing. IBM didn't respond to requests for comments either. But everywhere we turn these days, the NSA's got their finger in the pie. The question is, at what point do foreign countries just quit buying any of our stuff, since everything seems to be compromised? No real discussion of whether or not this is false or it's true. So I'm assuming everybody's just assuming it's true. But it sounds like something, if you were very enterprising, you could write. But apparently they've got into the firmware for these drives and basically embedded the code in the drive. So kind of tough to figure out how to do a virus scan of the firmware of a hard drive. But it looks like from a little bit that's leaked out is that the NSA was basically finding these drives in transit, modifying the code and putting them back in bags and sealing them back up and sending them to a lot of third world countries. But didn't find a lot of events where people were actually doing this. But if they found a computer that was needed to be hacked, this was a way around operating systems and virus checkers that seemed to be fairly significant. But I don't know. We may hear more about this as the week goes on. That will be it. Anyway, it is a mad world, and we are right here pinning 2100, and I think we could probably go sideways for a few days as we wait for the news to come out from Greece and all the Grecian formula people out here. In the meantime, I'm looking at some of the stocks that have been moving today, and let me get my list back up here. See what we've got. Let's take a quick look at RIG and see how it worked out here. Not a whole lot of movement out here. Of course, this thing already been hammered pretty far and often. Let's see what else we have. Wienermobile, Starwood. I don't think anything really moved of interest today. It's kind of a tight market. So somebody in the den said, I would assume Western Digital and Seagate assisted. And the answer is the company probably did not. Normally the way these guys work is they don't want a lot of people knowing. So they either got their own guy to get hired in there as a spy to put the software in or get additional stickers, but they would keep it to a minimum of people that truly need to know. So, and give the company executives plausible deniability in that they did that. So probably not uncommon. But I think I talked about it last week, maybe on Monday or maybe even a week ago or 2 weeks ago on the Tom O'Brien show. But China changing all their laws that they get access to all the firmware in all of these products. My guess is that they'll get access to the firmware in hard drives in the not too distant future. But there's nothing out there that looks like it cannot be, how can I say, it can't be exploited for the purposes of the NSA. A few stocks out here that I'm starting to look at. Again, I think that it would not be incredible to see some short squeezes out here this week up here at the highs. So I'm kind of looking for probably a Wednesday or Thursday white lightning approach to options, and probably the news on Friday of whether the Greeks get bailed out or not. When we come back, we're going to look at a lot of stocks out here with high short interest. One had a huge move already today, and that's GoPro. We'll be back in a minute with that.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you, like it does me, call 1-855-750-4051 to find out what they can do for you. That's 1-855-750-4051. Call them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we're coming back, and boy, the market's just about stopped. 20.99 on the S&P cash, 2.18 billion. So it's going to be a light volume high, but I have a feeling this is going to be a light volume week as we wait for Greek news, at least in the equities. I think we could see some movement, and I put it in my newsletter this morning that I was looking for some of these stocks to have some short squeezes this week, and maybe there's some good opportunities. I'll probably look at actually putting positions on Wednesday or Thursday after we see a little bit of what's going on out here. I'm not surprised already to see GoPro have a nice little bounce out here today. A few things happening out here, although there's still high volume at $42.65. There's massive short interest in this stock, and could they hang around this $45 or $50 level for a while? I think the answer is true, but they had some other things out here over the last few days, which is the window is closed for selling for insiders, and that pretty much puts a lid on all the insider selling for a little while until their next round of earnings comes out. So I think a lot of people are thinking, well, now that I don't have to worry about the CEO dumping another 10 million shares or so on the market, maybe this is a better deal to go out there. But severely high short interest in the stock, and that's what you really need to be watching this week if you want to make some quick cash. Some very nice trades out here, I think, but we're going to need to continue keeping an eye on them. But as I look through my list of stocks for today, these all have a very high short interest in them. GoGo, of course, was this big one that was the internet in the skies, and everybody thought this thing was going to take off. Not a bad looking chart out here. Got back, tested its $14.03 low from August 11th that had 5 million shares, got back into it with 1.3 million shares on January 22nd. Not out of the realm of possibility. These things bounced $3, but again, very high short interest. And as we get later in the week, if we get any kind of real movement or a huge bounce off of a Greek deal done, we might be wanting to look at it. Now, one that trades a lot with GoPro, because they make the chips for GoPro out here, is Umbrella. They make the compression chip that goes in all the GoPro cameras. Not surprising, this thing opened down, and then, of course, it started to turn up with GoPro today. But again, it's another stock with a huge short interest on it. So you got to be very careful on this one on the short side, but maybe you're going to get a couple, 2, 3, 4 days of runs out of this to the long side. You know, you probably have to have some better news out here. Just like the high volume down day on Friday before we had our 3-day weekend. But you had 5 million shares down. You got about 2.3 million shares up. This one, I think, probably has a smaller chance of a big short squeeze out here. Fleetmatics, probably not a lot of people familiar with this particular stock. Not huge volume out here, but certainly has tested its gap down out here with some decent volume. Last time it was at $39.77, was December 22nd with 580,000 shares. Got 520,000 shares, so certainly could come back and test that high one more time. We got a little doji out here today. If this thing starts moving up here tomorrow, you might take a look at it, but a massive short squeeze on it. The proverbial short squeeze stock out here. Okay, I got 2 questions. So let me get to GameStop here. Watch GameStop. This is another one with massive short squeeze out here. And what else can you say about it? Just lots of sideways action out here, which is not something you want to go into options expiration in. Let's take a quick look at the options here. Nah, it's about where it should be. So this doesn't have a big bias, at least in options. Had a question in the den that said, huge short squeeze interest in options, show 60 on GoPro, GPRO. And what am I looking at? I'm looking at, of course, the options. The most amount of money would be lost at about $63. That does not mean it will get there, but it certainly means there's probably a bias, and that bias may be up as high as 60. But I would not be surprised to see this thing's got a massive short interest spike in it. You could get another 5 or 7 or $10 or something at it. You know, this is not one of these stocks that is for the timid. And when you look at it, there are way too many people way too short the stock. And at least options show that the very negative bet will probably not pay off. My guess is that you're probably going to see this thing end up somewhere between there. Also, do you remember you talked about Todd Rundgren, only if you have time? Well, I'm going to make time. Probably just before the end of the show today, after the break. We'll try to get in a few more of these stocks. GNRC. Generac Holdings. Of course, with all the snow, this thing should have popped up, and it did. And of course, it had a big pop as snow came back into the forecast. Jim Cantori notwithstanding. And if you haven't watched that video, anyway, higher volume than the last high out here on January 26th, and a nice 3 days out here. Light volume. You know, it's going to, unless we get another hurricane come fairly soon, these, especially snowy kind of things for Generac, tend to be transitory. But if we got any more bad weather, I think we could probably, with the short interest in this, see it back up into the $55 level without a whole lot of problems. GoPro, Halo, Hawk, Hero, HGG. HH Greg is another one of these with high short interest. Not showing a lot of volume out here today. It's basically done its ABC up here. But it's kind of a less expensive stock out here at $6.86 today. But HH Greg, for those people who don't have one around them, I don't have one around me. I've never been in one. But kind of a combination of, I guess, a couple of ideas, but probably closer to a Best Buy. Of course, we've seen a lot of downside action in Herbalife. I would not be surprised to see this one move. And let's take a quick look at this one. What is it? HLF. See what options are saying out there. HLF. Okay, Payne's about $42, so keep a close eye on this one. You probably want to say that, you know, you may get a little bit more out of this one than $35 at expiration, $42. Of course, some pretty huge short interest on that one. So maybe a very interesting play on Friday on that one. That's the one that can move maybe $5 in a day. Icon Browns. So what else do we have out here? Intercept Pharmaceuticals. IMAX is pretty much already at its highs. Novo, Insys. We'll find one here. Intersections. IN, InnovaSense. This one's kind of interesting out here. InvenSense. It's got a huge short interest. See, got another instant message, and you can always email me at path@tfnn.com. Huge short interest in options show 60. What does that mean? That means that about 85% of the time, options are going to, if you figure out that where the most amount of money is going to be lost if that stock expired at that level, that's where it'll expire. Basically, the option market makers have a pretty good idea of where the stock's going to move, and their deal is to, of course, try to make sure that all options expire worthless. In fact, they're selling insurance, so that you're looking for some kind of movement to where the most amount of money in options would be lost at expiration. And that does not always work, but about 80% of the time. Especially if you've got a market at highs, it's not unbelievable to see 1 or 2 days where you get some kind of breakout and then all the shorts have to run. And that's what I'm talking about here today. That is that option market makers would be more disposed to come out with a bunch of phony upgrades, to talk about the stock, to send a lot of people on CNBC to talk it up, anything to get the stock price up for expiration on Friday. So manipulation, if you want to call it that, stock operators, they all try to do it to the extent that they can. But basically, that's it. They're going to try to push the stock short term, where the most amount of options would be lost, both puts and calls. And if you look and add those numbers up, you can get fairly close to where they're at. But anyway, one of the nice things is, especially if you have options that are much higher and you have a sense of like InvenSense where you have high short interest, it's not uncommon to see both of those kind of like throwing a match into a big barrel of gasoline and have it all go whoosh real quick. You've got a lot of dry tinder out there, and it's not hard to get a stock going, at least in the short term, not in the long term. But in the short term, especially during options expiration, kind of easy to put together things like option market makers wanting to get a stock going higher. And of course, a lot of people wanting to do some short squeezes on some stocks so that they can get out at higher prices. So you have organic reasons that are pushing a lot of people and the stocks to probably go against what would be thought of as the normal trend of the stock. JCPenney, another one of these huge high short interest stocks. Of course, things getting a little bit better for stocks in the retail sector. I don't think JCPenney is going to be ripping out here, but could it get back up to $9? I think it could. A lot of these stocks are going back to these huge down days that they had with volumes. In the case of JCPenney, it's the October 8th down day that had 73 million shares. And I don't think you're going to probably bust through that anytime soon, but you could go back and eat through a lot of that, which would be closer to $9. And you might take a look at that. Maybe a nice move out here. KBH Homes, this is another one where we have some huge movement. Just a tick up, tick up, tick up. And then eventually you're going to get a lot of people that are maybe hugely short the stock to go ahead and cover on it. Anyway, we're going to go to Roger in Mount Vernon, Washington. How you doing today, Roger?
Hey, pretty good. How about you, Dave? Everything
pretty good. They typed your stock symbol in, but I'm about 99% sure they typed it in wrong. But what would you like to talk about today?
It's a CYBR.
Yeah, they typed CYER. They're pretty good, except they're dumb, can't hear, and they're blind. But other than that, they're great call screeners. But I digress. Anyway,
well, too many days off.
What are you thinking about on this?
I don't know. I'm just curious about it. It's had a pretty good run since
they've had good news. This whole sector, of course, with the president running around Silicon Valley talking up cybersecurity and everything, hasn't been bad either. It had a pretty good short interest on this thing as it pulled back, and this is a good example of another probably fairly decent short squeeze. Any of these stocks in this sector are good. I'm looking at a couple other ones to play long term, and I just need a pullback in it. In CyberArk, you'd want this thing to probably get back to 47 or $45, light volume, and I'd be back in. This is a legitimate break higher with volume. So going to be tough, especially when every day there's not a day that doesn't go by when you find out that someone's been hacked, data's gone, and huge amounts of money is gone too. So
that's kind of what I was wondering is, all this emphasis on all this cyber hacking is, probably pretty good for these stocks. It is, but you probably don't want to be buying the hype. You want to probably wait until a little of that hype burns off. And my guess is that you'll probably get an opportunity to buy this thing around 45, 47. And at that point, maybe it's a week or two from now after all this is blown over, that, it's got a legitimate blow-off, gap higher out here. You just want it to kind of come back into that gap. And you've got actually two gaps out here. One that started back, there was a gap down on the 4701, which is the November 24th high. It gapped down the next day, and it gapped through that on Friday. And then, of course, the gap from, I guess it would have been Thursday to Friday, right? Last week when this thing came out with earnings, and everybody was short this thing, and they all got fried. And, that's pretty much it. You want to hang on through the break, or? No, I was just kind of, like I say, just kind of wondering what you thought.
The sector's going to be hot, and I can't see anything changing that hotness. I just need some better point to get in on these things. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Trade with confidence and clarity while using the software that thousands of institutional traders rely on to make the best and most accurate decisions. Choose from 1,000 equities, currencies, and futures instruments utilizing the TAS architecture. As seen on Bloomberg terminals worldwide, the TAS Profile Scanner is a benchmark technical filtering system that thousands of traders rely on, and now you can too. For a limited time for TFNN subscribers only, we've reduced the price to just $97. That's over 75% off. John Logan hosted a special subscriber-only webinar in December, and you'll gain access to that archive as well, so you can learn exactly what the TAS Profile Scanner can do for you. Try this product out. No matter what you trade, the TAS Profile Scanner can help you make more informed trading decisions. There's no obligation to pay anything. Don't let this offer pass you by. Get your 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner today by signing up at TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
We're told to follow our passion and everything else will fall into place. I hope that's what each of you are doing each and every day. Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Money Master Show at TFNN.com, and my passion for technical analysis is what led me to the most fundamental discovery in pattern recognition, the Rhodes Momentum Indicator, market scanner, and trading strategy. A set of tools that identify the momentum and power of the trend, the likes of which have never been seen before, for every market and every time frame. Yes, folks, the trend is your friend, unless you're on the other side. New to technical analysis? This is the place to start. And experienced traders take advantage of the trend like never before. Experience the power of the Rhodes Momentum Indicator each day, available to subscribers of my newsletter service, Mastering Probability. I guarantee your satisfaction for the next 30 days unconditionally, so there's no risk to you other than being on the wrong side of the trend. Mastering Probability, available on the homepage of TFNN.com. And folks, live with passion.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And had somebody ask me, I guess in the den, about my Todd Rundgren story. And there was early 90s, it had to be about 1991, 1990, somewhere in there, 1991. I was working with a bunch of equipment that for video editing and animation, and we'd go out and call on these folks. And some of them were people like Todd Rundgren that were musicians that wanted to make video. Certainly they were artistic, if you know what I mean. But went in and we went to his house, and there was this little girl running around. I can remember she had to be about 13 or 14 at the time. Maybe 12, something like that. A little brunette girl just running around all over the place. And no, it wasn't Avid's products. It was a video toaster at the time. That was the thing that was the big deal. But we were into animation and other stuff. But the idea was to edit all these videos together and drop the cost so you could put out a lot more videos for MTV. This is when they actually played videos on MTV, if you can remember that far back. But this gal running around, and her name was Liv, and we'll get into that in a second. But of course, I was met there by what I call kind of your basic 100-pound dripping wet guy that reminds you of one of those guys from Sprockets on Saturday Night Live, who tells you that Mr. Rundgren is meditating right now, and he's going to need to meditate for another 5 minutes before he can take his meeting. And it was all these hushed voices, and almost like this guy isn't the kind of guy that puts on his pants one leg at a time. He's some kind of god that we need to just, we need to show the proper reverence for him. I don't know if it was him that was putting this guy up to it, or is it just the kind of sycophants that hang around these kind of guys. But there was a lot of that. When I talked to him, he was kind of straightforward and everything. But they ended up making a video over the next 6 months, and it came out. It got some airplay on MTV, but it was not that big a deal. But my thought always, going back to it, was this little girl that I didn't know who she was at the time running all around. But she was Liv Tyler, the big Aerosmith lead singer's daughter, who he got her mother pregnant, and Rundgren ended up marrying her before she even had the baby. And she's both known as Liv Tyler and Liv Rundgren Tyler, but ended up being raised by Todd, even though he wasn't her father. So he must be a decent enough guy. But I'll never get over the Twig Boy telling me about showing the proper reverence, like the guy was the Dalai Lama. And I wish I had video of it, because it's almost so laughable that, I've been in around state governors that didn't have as much blowhardiness as this guy did. But I'll always remember the real California. This guy's a god. He's you just can't you can't treat him the way you treat normal people. And I've always thought that was a bunch of it. I always wondered whether he put this guy up to it or not. But I always remember Liv Tyler running around at 14 years old. But that's my story. It didn't end up being long, but kind of interesting in my brush with stardom. Anyway, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time. And hopefully the guys in the office will get their ears cleaned out a little by then. See you tomorrow.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, oil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. You're watching Tiger TV.